Hello everyone, and welcome to the beginning of nothing. I'm starting a new island today, and I don't know why I'm so hellbent on making my life difficult, but here we are. This island is going to be no bells, no Nook Miles, and no Nintendo Online. So basically, no fun. Now, I'm not going to get 5 stars with this island. I'm not even going to be able to get 3. I won't be getting ables, and I won't be able to buy a slingshot. It's going to be a little bit difficult, but I think I can do it. Anyway, let's go and see what I got up to on the first couple of days of this challenge. Now, when it came to choosing an island, I had to be really picky. I'm not going to be able to terraform, place bridges or inclines, so I need to be really smart about it. I spent about an hour or so going through islands. I did go to one that I kind of liked, but ultimately the villagers made that decision for me. Then I found a map that I thought looked really good. There was just something about it that said, I'm a no terraforming island. So it was no surprise when after I chose it that I realised I have actually used that map before for a no terraforming hardcore island. So it seems I made the right choice. The native fruit and the villagers that I got also confirmed that for me. Peaches for fruit and Renee and Poncho for villagers. How lucky am I? Not only that, but I also got Cosmos as my native flower. Winning! I got my tent and I placed it on the beach. I was hoping to go for a deserted island type look with it. I then put Renee's and Poncho's to the left of resident services, being very careful about where I put them because I'm not going to be able to move them. Then it was time to go and see Tom and do all of the things, grab the branches, pick some fruit, and name the island. Now, I was kind of back and forth on what I was going to call the island. I did consider calling it just nothing, but I wanted to be, a little bit fancy. So I decided to call it Nada, which honestly is just Spanish for nothing. I'm really not that fancy. I went and seen Tom to get my camping cot because I decided to head off to bed for the night. Look at me, I've already got 3 items. Anywho, onto my first official day on Nada. I got my Nook phone from Tom and then it was time to get down to business. Now, normally the first thing I would do is pay off my moving fees, but this is a no Nook Mile island. More on that a little bit later. So instead, the first thing I done was I went and collected a heap of branches so I could complete the DIY workshop. I went to see Tom and crafted some flimsy fishing rods and nets. Then I went for a bit of a wander around to catch some creatures so I could put down the plot for the museum. And of course have a chat with Poncho because he is just so cute. And look at that, another free item. On my travels, I also let myself get stung by some wasps so that I could go and get the DIY for the medicine. Now that I have my 5 creatures, it is time to go back and see Tom. And also fix my face. So with the museum, I'm thinking I'm going to leave it as a tent. Seeing as I can't spend any bells to move it anyway, I don't really see the point in upgrading it. Plus, I'm fairly certain that even if I leave it as a tent, I can still get blathers to assess the fossils, so I can use them as decorations if I want to. I've given everything I need to Tom, so now it is time to go and place the plot. I originally wanted to put it on the beach, but unfortunately it wouldn't fit. And I needed it to go somewhere where I had plenty of space, but it wasn't near resident services or any of the houses. And I also needed it where it wouldn't block anywhere where I could put my one and only bridge. I need to think ahead here. Once that was done, I made some axes and grabbed a cardboard box from the recycling bin. It was time to go and collect some building materials. I'm going to be relying heavily on DIYs for this island, so I need to make sure that I'm always collecting wood and hitting the rocks as much as possible. However, there are so many ways that you can get free stuff in this game. For starters, free DIYs. You get quite a lot from Tom at the start of the game, not to mention your bottle on the beach every day, and also checking in with your villagers to see who is crafting. Completing events such as Halloween and Bunny Day. Cooking with Franklin to get pumpkins. Taking photos with Reese and Cyrus for wedding furniture. Checking the recycling bin. Shaking trees. Gifting your villagers. The list goes on and on. Once I had collected everything, I crafted myself a workbench, dumped all of my stuff outside of my tent, and then time travelled to the following day. So the next day the airport was open and Blathers had arrived. I checked my mail and got the fruit from my mum. Unfortunately, it was cherries, which is easily the worst fruit in the game. I went to find my DIY and I noticed that Gulliver was here. Yet another way to get free things. I went to see Blathers and I got the DIYs for the vaulting pole and the shovel. And then after crafting them, I headed to resident services to trigger the shop story, only to be bitterly disappointed. To get the shop and progress the story, I had to pay my moving fees. I already had over 2,000 Nook miles, so I was halfway there, but I'm not supposed to be spending any Nook miles on this island. Unfortunately, this could not be avoided. Luckily, it didn't take that long, and pretty soon I had exactly 5,000 miles. I went back and seen Tom and paid my moving fees. I wanted to time travel to the next day so that I could get the shop going, so I went and seen Gulliver and got him sorted out. And then I went around and shook my trees for furniture. I quickly ran around and collected some building materials. I collected shells off the beach, hit my trees for wood, and hit my rocks for iron. And then it was off to the next day. And now it is time to see what treasure Gulliver has sent us. The lucky cat. I don't know what I'll use this for, but it's free, so I'll take it. I collected some more shells and grabbed my DIY off the beach. And the DIY of the day is the wooden table mirror. Gee, thanks. This game cannot be serious. I headed to resident services and guess what? I still can't get the shop. As it turns out, you have to actually upgrade from a tent to a house. I paid my moving fees, but I thought I could avoid upgrading to a house. I've never actually done it this way before, like I've never not upgraded to a house, so I didn't know that you had to do it. So back to see Tom I go, and I obviously have no intention of paying off my loan. Now, because I need to time travel again, I have to go and do all of my dailies again. I shake my trees, collect wood, and hit my rocks. And then it's off to the next day. I got a DIY from HHA for the wooden end table and then grabbed my bottle on the beach. And I already know it. What a surprise. I headed to resident services and finally triggered the shop story. I mean, honestly, it's about time. While I was there, Tom informed me about my free Nook Miles ticket that I have at the airport, but I'm not really sure when I'm going to be using that. And of course, Tommy wants me to get him 30 of each wood and of course 30 iron nuggets. I had plenty of wood, but because I haven't been to any Nook Mile Islands, I had to go around and collect some more iron. And once I had all of that collected, it was time to go back and see Timmy and set up shop. And in return for helping Timmy, he gave me a pet bed, some wallpaper, and a knife block. Before I placed Nooks, I went to visit Poncho and Renee. I had forgotten to go and see them earlier, so Poncho gave me some iron and Renee gave me a shovel. I decided to place Nooks on the other side of the river where I had a really big empty space, so I've got plenty of room to work with when it comes time to decorating. The next day, Poncho decides to teach me my reactions, so thank you, Poncho. I grabbed my daily DIY, one that I actually don't know this time. And then I noticed that Nook's cranny was open. I didn't go inside though because what's the point? I crafted some log stakes and then headed off to see Tom. I got the DIY for the bridge and figured out where I wanted it to go. I went to place it but realised I didn't actually craft it. I decided the best place for it was just to the right of resident services. I went back to see Tom and got the 3 plots, and now for the tricky part of figuring out where they're going to go. I had a bit of a look around and decided to put plot 1 towards the back of the island next to a cliff. I then went and crafted a ladder so that I had the option of putting the other 2 houses on top of cliffs if I wanted to, which indeed I did. I put both on the cliff on the right side of the island. So this is the map. I'm thinking for the campsite and villager number 6 that they would go here and maybe here. I don't know. Anyway, that is going to be all for the first episode of Nada. I have a feeling that this island is going to be a lot of fun. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to see who's going to be moving into our first 3 plots, make sure you subscribe and don't forget to like this video. Thank you so much for watching and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye!